that we have on our shows. Wonderful information, wonderful. And they're doing things and going places. And then on top of that, they are making things happen. And that's my intro to my guest today, Ikea Dixon. You wait till you hear how the Lord has blessed this young lady to do the wonderful things that she's doing, not just for herself, but for others. And I like to say, welcome to the show, Sister Ikea.
For having me. I feel so honored and so blessed.
Oh, I feel blessed to be in your presence as well. But what we do, we always let Cleveland know who we are. We have a story, and nobody could tell your story like you can tell your story. And then as we travel with telling our story, we'll ease into the blessing that's getting ready to happen this month. How about that?
That sounds good.
Okay, go ahead, my sister.
You know, I've been a furniture painter for the last 25 or 30 years, and I was married in a high-profile marriage for 27 years. So I found myself in a divorce, and it wasn't a bad divorce, but I found myself in a divorce, and I decided that I would leave the divorce the way I came in, which was with virtually not much. So when I got my new place, I was like, okay, how am I going to decorate this? So then I started going to places like Goodwill and finding stuff and making it look really good. So when I got back on my feet, I realized, I said, there's probably a lot of other people that were in my situation. So why don't I see what I can do to give back? So what I started doing was the same thing, going to Goodwill, finding old furniture, making it beautiful, and donating it to single moms.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I would do entire rooms. I would say, you tell me the room, you tell me what your theme is, and I would ask them to leave, and I would come in and provide everything from the furniture to the curtains to the linens, everything in the room. And it really blessed a lot of people. And in all my years of furniture painting, I made some really awesome pieces, and I've never sold one piece.
never?
Never.
Wow, just turn around and bless the men, the women of God.
Yeah.
Wow. Could you imagine the uplift, the confidence builder that you did in doing this for them? Because we all have different points in our lives that's not always up. It'll put us in the middle, and sometimes it'll bring us down. So tell me, when they came home, when she came home, what is she saying to them?
Well, that's the reason why I did it, because to see the joy. And some of these mothers were mothers who were fresh out of college and had young kids and had to go to work, plus had to take college courses. So quite a few of them wanted just one room that was a sanctuary. So a lot of times it was their bedroom. And that's what made it so worth it. When they would come in and see the room, and you're like, wow, that's why I'm doing this, because they were always so grateful. And that's the only thing that I get as payment is gratitude, which is amazing.
And my sister, that's what I tell people, that we start out with the business part of it, but God will turn that thing around and it turns into our ministry.
Ooh, yes, it does.
So
Yes,
your
it does.
painting turned into a ministry of blessing others.
Yes.
And you went and got the furniture from different places. And we're talking about painting, right?
Painting the furniture, repairing it, and bringing it back to life where it would have like another good 30 years of usage.
Wow. So how many houses, do you remember how many families you blessed?
It's funny you ask that, because I'll get messages on Facebook and they'll say, oh my gosh, Ikea, what you did for me. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember because I encountered a lot of people, and I can't even tell you how many, but it's been a lot, because even if I didn't do an entire room for someone, a lot of times I would do a piece of furniture. So, I did hundreds and hundreds of pieces of furniture that I made pretty again, and then I donated it back.
What a blessing. So we're talking about natural paint that you would paint a wall with, or?
Yeah, I started out with natural paint, and what happened was it would take me a really long time, like to do, for instance, one dresser. It would take me 3 days to do because, there's a process of, they weren't the best quality because I would either find them on the side of the road or I would get them from Goodwill. So you had to sand, you had to repair, you had to prep, you had to wait for the paint to dry. So that's what I did for years. But times have changed now.
Let's talk about that. So what do you do now since times have changed?
So let me start it off by saying that, as I mentioned, for years I donated and I gave back, and so I had a big company. They were a big chalk paint company, and they represented me, and they said, Heikia, we see what you're doing. You get whatever you want every month in order for you to continue to give back. Well, this was huge for me because it was a chalk-based company, and chalk-based paint allows you to eliminate so many steps in the process of your painting furniture, which means that what used to take me 3 days would now take me 3 hours. So with chalk paint, that was huge. So I was able to do more because it would cut my time down like huge. So the chalk-based company represented me for a couple years, and I represented them also on social media, and I was always shouting out, and I had lots of people buy the paint from them. And then last year, they were like, "Oh, hi, Kia. About that paint we've been giving you every month. Well, we can't do it anymore." And I was like, "Oh, you're kidding me." And they're like, "Yeah, we can't do it anymore because we're changing our program up. So why don't you just continue to build your social media up, and once you get it up, we can revisit this in 6 months." And I sent the most amazing letter of gratitude because I was so grateful for the time that they did give me and for the paint that they gave me. I was heartbroken because I knew that it was going to cut down my benevolence of giving, because it's very expensive to not only buy the furniture, but to buy the chalk paint, but to also prepare it and organize it. But that saying, when one door closes,
Yes, ma'am.
we all know that saying, and boy, did I have no idea what God had in plan for me.
Wow, with the door closing or with the door opening? Which one was
Well,
it?
I knew that once that door closed, I was just going to brace myself because, again, there's no bitterness. I was just so grateful for what the company did for me. I did question, like, why me? But then that lasted just a minute, and I thought, whoa, let's just look out and see what's in store for me. So I do Airbnb at my house, and I try to make a sanctuary in my home for the Airbnb guests. Are you familiar with Airbnb?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, Airbnb is people can go online and they can choose your home to stay in your home instead of a hotel. So I've been doing it for 4 years because I had a daughter. She graduated from Howard University, and from there she went on to Africa, and she taught kids to read 2 years there. She went on to Paris, and she got her second master's, and she said, "Mom, you have to open up Airbnb." And this was 4 years ago. And I said, "What is Airbnb?" And she said, "Mom, all my travels, people have opened their homes up to me, and I've been able to live there for a fraction of the price. So you have to do the same." And I was like, "I don't know, this is a little weird." And she goes, "No, Mom, you should do it just to give back." And I thought, and that's what I did. So Airbnb allows people to go online and stay in your home instead of staying in a hotel. It's kind of like a bed and breakfast, only I don't do the breakfast part. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm explaining that to say that I had a gentleman, and he booked my room and my home for 2 months. Now, I've had people book for 30 days, but this guy booked for 2 months. And at first I thought, well, this is, this can't be real, because it was about nearly $4,000. And usually when people stay with me for a weekend, they're going to say, "Oh, what can I do? Can I use your kitchen? How are your stairs?" They have a ton of questions. Well, this guy was coming from Germany, and he had no questions. And so I thought, up until the day he came, I was like, "Oh, we'll see if he actually does show up." So the day before, I texted him. I said, "Oh, so you're on for my Airbnb room, right?" He said, "Absolutely, I'll be there." So he came in from Germany, and I would be out in my garage and I'm painting this time. Of course, I'm trying to create my own chalk paint. I tried many times and it came out really bad. But I kept trying to create my own chalk paint because I knew that I needed to keep doing what I was doing. But chalk paint is very expensive. So he saw me out there and he's painting. He's like, what you're doing is amazing. He actually even helped me deliver a few pieces. And I said to him, I have to ask you. You're staying with me for 2 months. You're here from Germany. You never asked me any questions. And he said, when I saw all of your reviews, which were nearly 200 reviews, and they were all 5-star, he said that was good enough for me. And I said to him, so what are you doing here? And he said, well, I'm here in the United States because I work with chalk-based products. And I'm here to help people do chalk paint. And I said, you're kidding, right?
Oh my goodness.
And he said, no, that's what I do. He said, I see you out here and you're trying to make something. He said, why don't I help you? I'm a chemical engineer and I'm a chalk-based scientist. And I said, look at God.
Look at God. Whoa.
I said, look at God. I said, well, how much is this going to cost me? Because I know you're a scientist. I know you're a chemical engineer. He said, I've delivered some of the furniture for you. This isn't going to cost you anything. And I was like, look at God. Wow. And so for 2 months, we tested. He showed me where to buy the products. We mixed it. We got recipes. He showed me all the contacts of things I'd never, ever would have taken me probably 10 years to learn. He showed me in 2 months. And we made a formula of a chalk powder that is powerful. This chalk powder now I can show people how they can make their own chalk paint also. So in my and all of this being said and done, I really was not planning on getting a retail store. But when we got the formula and it was so good, I was like, I'm going to put this out there. And he said, you should go for it. And I said, no consulting fees? He said, no consulting fees. So I had 16 old china cabinets. I took them, I painted them. I was offered this amazing retail space downtown Cleveland at a fraction of the price. And I said, well, why not do retail and bring out my chalk-based paint and my chalk paints powder all at the same time? And that's what we're doing in the next 2 weeks. And I call it the chalk powder that pays it forward, because every time someone buys my chalk paint or my chalk powder, it allows me to pay it forward.
Wow.
Yes.
Now you talking about a testimony.
Yes.
And stepping out on faith.
Stepping out on
and
faith.
having the courage to allow a stranger in your home.
Yeah.
So I'm just asking, both of you all were in the home together?
So the way Airbnb works is that I actually have 2 rooms in my home, and people go online and they can search to see if they want to stay in my home. And the way that I get my guests is that they look at your reviews, and I in turn look at their reviews. I've had some people that were kind of questionable. I looked at their reviews and they really didn't have any, or some were sketchy, and I chose for them not to be in my home.
Amen.
But most of the time, they're upright and they have a lot of reviews. And once they check in and they ask me for my password to my Wi-Fi, it is God is good, and He leads me every day.
Wow.
And I've not had any issues with Airbnb. And as a result of me opening my home, I found their most amazing scientist, chemical engineer, and chalk paint.
What a blessing. Oh, wow. We can't clap, but woo. What a blessing.
Yes.
How stepping out on faith. I mean, the Lord shut the door. He opened up this door. And one day, this young man asked the question.
Yes.
And from that, we're up to today. I loved the video of the store and you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love that. So how did you come up with that name? I know it would be different.
All right. So I have 4 children. And as they were growing up, my favorite perfume used to be Coco Chanel. That's all I would wear. And so they would laugh and call me Coco. And so I trained them that if somebody comes to your school and they get you, you have to ask them, what's my mom's name? If they say Ikea, do not go with them. If they say Coco, you know I sent them. So for years I did that, and I would sign all of their notes, love Coco and Coco loves you, and it's always been our terms of endearment. And I still do it, and they call me Coco. And so that's how I just thought that Coco's chalky paint kind of had more of a ring than Hikea's chalky paint. So I did Coco's chalky paint.
It is fantastic. I love the upbeat, as the young people say, turn it up. I mean, you
Yes.
turned up the pictures, turned the cabinets from
Yes.
not being so well to
Yeah.
look at to beautiful. And then we have a grand opening coming.
Yes, we do. And I think that it's going to be pretty phenomenal because we're going to have demonstrations on that day. We're going to show people how they're going to use chalk paint and also how they're going to use my chalk powder. We're going to have demonstrations there. We're going to have free food, drinks. We're going to have lots of raffles and prizes. And it's just going to be an upbeat, phenomenal day. And I have no idea who is going to show up, but I know that whoever does show up, it will be divine intervention that God's going to send who should be there.
So encouraging, because some people will say, you all always talking about God. You always do this. What has he done? Which offends me, because I'm thinking of being disrespectful, but how we just hold on.
Yes. Well,
You just held on firm.
yes.
And he said, I forget what psalm it is, that while we yet praying, he will answer. And the Lord answered you. And now you're in this fantastic place. Give us the location, phone number or website, whatever, because we want people to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I'm at 530 Euclid Avenue, and it's the 5th Street Arcades. And I have to tell you that the space that I'm in, it's 99% filled. And so when they showed me around and he said, well, there's a space here, but it's never been a store. There's never been anything in it, but I'll just show it to you. And when he showed it to me, I said, oh, I love it. And he's like, what?
Wow.
I'm like, are you kidding? I love it. It didn't have any walls, no ceilings. No, all it had was a floor. And so I went in there. I put in chandeliers because crystals are a powerful healing stone. So I always have crystals around me. So I have 4 chandeliers in there. I painted the floors with my chalk paint powder, and I painted the walls, and I created walls that weren't there. And it's just a phenomenal place.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it, because now I'm thinking about, what is it? Other people's trash could be somebody's treasure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The man
Yes.
told you up front.
Yes.
Then you,
Yes.
the energizer coming up, telling me, oh, I love this. This is what I can do, and
Yes.
things of that nature. Now, for us that's born and live in Cleveland, you at 530 Euclid. So, which arcade is that?
So, I mean, the way that I explain it is that you would come in the door where you see the colossal cupcakes. I think everybody loves cupcakes, like I do also. But you enter the door of Colossal Cupcakes, and I'm going to be right there on the right.
Okay.
But because I know that there are 2 arcades, but I know there's an old and a colonial. But this one is the 5th Street Arcades. And it's a really nice atmosphere inside my store that has never been a store ever in 1,800 years that it was built. So it's now a store.
Wow. So aren't we going to do a raffle? You
Yes.
do fundraisers and things like that. Can we talk
Yeah.
about the raffle?
Absolutely. We're going to have some really cool gifts. We're going to have items from Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Tiffany. I went to a lot of my heavy hitter people that I've donated to over the years, and they always said, what can we do? What can we donate? So all of these items were donated, and they're pretty phenomenal. So we will have a silent auction of a few of them, and the proceeds are going to go to our back to school supplies. I do this every year. Back to school supplies, I've been doing it for the last 15 years. And as a matter of fact, last Christmas was my 2nd year. I went into the school on 44th Street. It's the newcomers school, and there are 900 kids there. And this year, and last year also, they got to pick out 6 gifts each for Christmas. And I did the same thing for back to school for them. They got backpacks, and they got backpacks and all the supplies they would need for school. And that's what we're working on now, is back to school.
And when would this take place?
So, kids go back to school early nowadays. So, like, I literally have to have all of these backpacks done and ready like the 1st of August. So, and it takes a long time because I usually give away like 2 to 3,000, back to school supplies for each kid. And for each different avenue that I donate, it's a lot. But it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding. And like the newcomer school, a lot of people don't even know that it's there, because actually I didn't know it was there until 2 years ago. But these kids, they come into our country, and people are so quick to say, we're just giving them something, but that's not true. They come into this country, they're given $1,500, and after a year, they have to pay that $1,500 back. So they come in here with virtually shoes on their feet and clothes on their back, and you should see their faces when they get these gifts.
So where are they coming from?
They are coming from every single country out there that we can't even imagine. Some of them I had never even heard of myself, but they all are located at the newcomer school, which is the old Thomas Jefferson School over on 44th Street. And I had no idea that it was there. And now I make it a point to go back to that school, because these kids are like, I have so many thank you notes. I can't even explain how I feel when I leave there, because they each write me thank you notes. And I have a wall in my new retail store of these thank you notes, because it's so rewarding. And selfishly, that's why I do it, because it makes me feel so good.
Oh, it definitely makes you feel good. While it's on my mind, I have a wonderful, wonderful team that works with me. And if you ever need any help, just give me a phone call. They would love to do that. We all, love to do it because of our children.
Exactly.
We have to pour, into our children. But what I struggle with, and we'll talk about it later, that we give out the book bags when school starts. But by Christmas, when they go out on Christmas break and come back, they need more book bags.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm focusing on this year, to give the book bags in January, and the school supplies, because by you being in the schools, you see how raggedy the bags have got. They got all these books.
No, what you said is a really good point, and the principals pointed that out to me. So this was the first year that not only did we give away so many toys, but we also gave away school supplies, because it's the end of December, and that this is when they need replenishing of it.
That's right.
And we take for granted these kids don't have pencils or papers, and then they even have more students that are coming into the school. So I think that's a very good point, and I think that from this year forward, that's how I'm going to do it.
Well, just let us know. We can work together.
Yes.
Working together does work. And all back to giving back. That's why I love you so much. I thank God for Sister Robin, my good sister friend, Sister Joyce, of almost 30 years. And they sent the call out to you regarding what we do. I don't like but what we do. And you open your arms up. And I truly, truly, truly appreciate that. And when I get notes from my children, doesn't it
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Definitely.
Oh, man.
It makes it all worth it.
That little scribble writing, I don't care.
Yep.
They took time out to write, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, my brother and my sister, and they have their names, and I'm so glad to see that. I will be there, and I pray that when I look on that wall that I can keep myself together. I pray I can keep myself together.
I'm so happy you're going to be there too, and I really hope that other people get a chance to come. And we have VIP bags, and these VIP gift bags, again, a lot of the items are donated to me from a lot of my people that have helped along the way, who are now just absolutely there for me, just like you. And the only way to get the VIP badge is you do have to RSVP, because we are in a mall type of area, and we will have lots of people that are coming in off the street. But we want to make sure that our listeners, our friends, our family get their VIP bags, and they're valued at over $50 each bag. And it's going to be a nice gift.
Thank you so much. I will follow instructions. Now, my sister, I have one more question. I have many, but time is, beginning to end for us in a couple minutes. When you have people that come in, are you doing hands-on while we're there?
Yes, there are going to be demos. I'm not going to, I have like a little stage area. I won't be on the stage, but I will have 3 different painters who are doing 3 different pieces of furniture. And at the end of the event, we're going to donate the furniture also. They can put their ticket in the basket to win that piece of furniture. And they're all going to be doing different techniques, but they're all going to be using Coco's chalky paints and Coco's chalky powders and answering questions, because there's so many people who want to paint a piece of furniture, but they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, or I can't do it. We're going to show you how easy this is. Don't throw it out. Well, actually, I'll come get it from the sidewalk, but I'm going to show you a way that you can keep it yourself and that you can really bring it back to life and use it for like another 30 years.
Okay, then let's give them some more information and your hours during the week. I don't know what your hours are, but we definitely want them to support you.
So my hours are going to be from 12 to 6 every day, Monday through Saturday. And you can RSVP at Coco, C-O-C-O-S, Chalky, C-H-A-L-K-Y, Paints, CocosChalkyPaints.com. Yeah.
Okay. Where do we park?
That's a really good question. And the thing is that it actually is St. Patrick's Day weekend. So there might be kind of a lot going on downtown that day, but I'm hoping that people will carpool and come down that way, because when you are downtown Cleveland, parking can sometimes be, a little chore, but I can promise you this, it's going to be worth it.
Okay, I'm blessed with several drivers, so I'm already going to let them know when I get in the car on the way home. Be available, drop me off at the front door.
Right.
And let's come in and, and support this wonderful sister. Sister Hakia, I love you so much. I love your passion. You have the passion that I have and many others that want to help reach out and touch somebody's hand. And that's what you are doing with your hands. You're planting seeds in people that thought they could never do this, because years ago it was a chore. I remember doing it one time. I hated it.
Yes.
Staying and doing this. I'm like,
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it'll be Christmas before we're done. But to come up with the advancement in technology is amazing.
Those days are over.
Yes, I see. Thank God. Do you ever hear from the young man?
He actually he contacted me on social media, and he's like, I know you said that you were going to do it, but I just have never met anyone that actually said they were going to do it and did it hugely, and you did it well, and I'm just so proud of you. And that just really made me feel good, because if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for me having Airbnb, and if it wasn't for our Heavenly Father, none of this would have been happening.
That's so well. And quiet, I can imagine he was quiet, and then just
Yes.
one day start talking.
Yep.
And it was like, the words say he'll open up the windows.
Yes.
And you won't have room for it.
And I said to him, you had a choice of many places to stay. I'm wondering why you chose me. And he said, well, actually, I really liked your reviews, and we don't have any black people in Germany, and I really wanted to learn a different culture when I came to the United States. And I was like, well, you chose the right one.
Amen. Amen. The right one. Okay. Give your phone number out again, and the way that they can get a hold of you.
You can call 216-370-0263. That's Coco's Chalky Paints. You can go on Instagram, Coco's Chalky Paints. Follow me there, see the things that I've done, the people who I've donated to, even some of their reactions. And you can always reach me there also. Instagram, Facebook, through the phone number. I'm going to always be there.
Yes, you are. You're always going to be with us. I remember when you texted me earlier today, I'm going to come with paint all over me. It's okay.
Yep.
Come on. So I want to thank you so very much. We love everybody. Don't forget our sister, March 16th. And I want to say peace.
Peace.